In this video, I'm going to introduce you to Conrad Hatcher, who will give you more information about Hangaaar's private pilot online ground school course. For those of you who don't know, Conrad is a Class 1 flight instructor. He's a Transport Canada pilot examiner, and he's been flying for about 40 years with about 23,000 hours logged. And you can see in the image on the screen that he flies a Piaggio P180, but he's also very active in flying many different types of aircraft. You can see Conrad in a Piper M350 on the cover of Skies magazine, which is a great article if you get a chance to read it. Now, if you haven't had a chance to learn from Conrad yet, I can tell you that from every single person that I talk to, they all agree that he's a really great instructor. He has a way of just breaking things down and communicating all this stuff in a way that makes a lot of sense for us student pilots who learn from him. Now, that all said, I'll pass this over to Conrad now, and he'll give you a more in-depth look at Hangaaar's private pilot online ground school course, so you can decide if this course is right for you.
If you're somebody who's interested in becoming a private pilot in Canada, I'd like to talk to you about the process. You may be somebody who's already taken a private pilot ground school at your school, and maybe you need a review. Maybe a lot of it went by you really quickly, or it's been a while since you took it and you haven't gotten around to writing your written examination. Or you may be somebody who hasn't been able to get to a ground school, either because one isn't offered near where you live, or the scheduling just doesn't work for you and the school, and now you're looking for a ground school that meets the Transport Canada requirements. One of the problems we have in flying schools is that typically ground school is scheduled on a fixed schedule, maybe a Tuesday and Thursday night, and it can take 10 to 12 weeks or even longer to get through the course. The problem is, of course, if you miss a class, you may have to wait a while for it to come back around again, or you're just trying to play catch up. This is the reason that the Hangaaar Online Ground School for the private pilot license was developed. It really includes everything that you need to know in order to complete your Transport Canada private pilot written test, but also some emphasis on being a good pilot, because it's not just about passing the examination. One of the great things about this course is that you can take it on your own schedule. So you're not tied to the schedule that the course is offered. The course is simply offered when you are available. Another unique feature is that each lesson includes a video with supporting graphics and slides that will help you learn. You can go through the course, you can back up, you can watch it again, and if necessary, you can send a question and get it answered by a qualified instructor. Another feature of the Hangaaar course, after you watch each video, and remember, you can watch these videos as many times as you like, you get to take a quiz. The big thing it's going to do for you is it's going to ensure that you've learned what it is you need to learn. It makes the course much more interactive. So you're not just sitting there letting the video play. You're actually becoming a participant. And that makes it a little bit closer to a well-run classroom experience. This course is completely compliant with the requirements for Transport Canada. There are different ways that you can get a letter of recommendation to write your written test. The important thing to understand is that you can get going on this course right away. Within minutes of purchasing the course, you'll automatically be sent login details to your email, and you can start right away. And that's one of the great things is you don't have to wait. It's your schedule. It's not anybody else's. Many people have found that this is a real benefit. We're pretty confident in it. And in fact, if you decide it doesn't work for you, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You don't get that at a flying school. Usually once you buy it, you've paid for it, you don't get the money back. So this is a great opportunity for you to jump in and get going to become a private pilot. Another thing we should talk about, I think, is let's be clear on what the requirements are to become a private pilot in Canada. There are a number of things you have to do. Ground school is just one of them. Of course, you have to fly and become competent with your flying instructor and take a flight test. There's also the medical aspect. And generally, what I recommend is students get their medical fairly soon and then get flying. And The great thing is if you can fly and do ground school at the same time, it really does work the best. We want to talk about the ground school requirement because this seems to be the thing that gives a lot of people a lot of grief. You know, flying is kind of the fun part, and depending on the school that you're at, maybe the ground school isn't so much fun. And we've tried to take some of the drudgery out of it. There's a sort of an overview of the things that you need to learn in order to become a private pilot. This is all laid out in Transport Canada's study and reference guide, and our course follows that format. So, for example, if you look at the study and reference guide, there are a whole list of topics that you have to learn under general knowledge, aeronautics general knowledge, things like engines and airframes, aerodynamics, flight instruments, flight operations, weight and balance, human factors. These are all separate topics that we cover in the course. A lot of people find the general knowledge section is actually the most difficult because you have to learn a lot about many different subjects. Another part of the ground school, section 2, is meteorology. So essentially, in meteorology, we break it down into a number of components, but essentially we're looking at the theory of meteorology. So you've got to learn some of the science that goes into creating weather. But then the other part of it is you have to learn how that information is sent out to pilots. So you have to learn to read weather reports, forecasts, etc. Navigation is a third section. So you need to know, of course, how to plot a course, etc., how to take the airplane to where you want to go. But there's a lot of background information with respect to maps, charts, and the way that information is presented. And then you need to learn a little bit about radio navigation. In particular, nowadays, a lot of navigation is done with GPS. And the fourth section is, of course, air law. And there are some rules. It's like learning to drive or any other discipline. You've got to learn the basic rules of how to operate an aircraft safely. Those things are covered extensively in the course. Another feature that we have at Hangaaar is that after you take the private pilot ground school course, you're going to get access to 800 test questions to test your knowledge, and you're going to get feedback. And this is a really great thing to make sure that you've learned what it is you need to learn. And a lot of people find it beneficial just to go through the exercise of answering questions, especially if you've been out of school for a while. Hangaaar is also unique in that you can track your progress. So as you proceed through the course, you don't have to keep track of which videos you've watched. There's a progress bar. You can easily see what you've already done, what you need to work on, and that's very, very helpful to sort of keep yourself organized. Another great feature of the Hangaaar Private Pilot Ground School course is that it works on basically all the platforms. So your laptop, your desktop, your Mac, your PC, iPad, iPhone, Android, anything, it's going to work. Anything that'll work on the internet, the Hangaaar course is going to work. So that's very, very convenient. It's really easy to get started. You simply log on, you provide your name and email, purchase with a credit card on the Hangaaar website. You'll get your login instructions within minutes, and immediately you'll be able to get going. So before we end this, what I'd like to leave you with are a few ideas about what it takes to become a pilot in Canada. First of all, the hardest thing is simply getting started. The fact that you may be somebody who's decided that they want to learn to fly is a fantastic thing. It's wonderfully rare, and the fact that you've decided to do it is great. So that's the hardest part. The second hardest part is following through and staying with it. And one of the big problems that everybody has is that at times your motivation can lag. Our course is designed to make sure that we keep you motivated. And we do that by allowing you to work on your own schedule, so you're not tied to anybody else. But also we provide you with some support. So if you have questions, we're going to answer them. The other thing that you should be aware of is that occasionally we will offer online broadcasts, which are, as close as we can get to being in a well-run classroom, but we do it in the virtual world. So you're not alone. And again, that's something that you may feel as you're sitting in the classroom that you're the dumbest person there and you don't understand anything, and that everybody else understands. And I can assure you that's not true. But we'll try to support you in every way that we can. So great that you've decided to start. We want to help you finish, and we'll do everything that we can to make sure that happens.
Thanks, Conrad. If you have any questions about the course or about any of the courses really that we offer at Hangaaar, feel free to reach out and contact us anytime. As Conrad mentioned, we really do want to make sure that we can do all that we can, that once you get started, we want to help you finish and achieve your aviation goals. So we want to thank you and just let you know that we're grateful for your support for what we're trying to do to make aviation education accessible for every pilot in Canada. All right, thanks for watching.